All right, bracing for impact, Christopher Nunley, hoping that the crews don't have to encounter as many outages as we're expecting.
Fingers crossed. So what the issue is, Jake, not only does this ice add that heavy weight onto the power lines as well as the trees. So typically when you get about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice, that adds about 500 pounds onto the power lines, and on trees it adds 30 times the weight. And when you factor in some of those gusty winds, that's why we're seeing those concerns, especially as we continue to add this ice onto the area. We start to get into those issues of possibly tree damage and power outages. So live look at radar here in the Seattle metro area. These purple, these pink colors, this is that freezing rain that is falling across the area. Everywhere, Ballard, West Seattle, Seattle, Bellevue, Mercer Island, all getting in on this freezing rain right now, and it's even snuck its way into Snohomish County. Everett now seeing that transition into that freezing rain. It looks like Marysville still holding on to snow, so Marysville as well as Arlington, but that will transition into freezing rain pretty shortly. We're seeing a brief break for southern parts of Puget Sound along I-5. Olympia, Lacey, Tacoma, Federal Way seeing a brief break, which is good. These areas saw that wintry precipitation move in earlier last night, but a secondary round will move its way back in over the next couple of hours. We were seeing snow initially in Skagit and Whatcom counties, but radar is now depicting that this is starting to transition into that freezing rain or maybe a little bit of a sleet mixture, and that process will continue throughout the morning hours. A lot of moisture still moving into the area, and what's concerning is the temperatures are sub-freezing for most of western Washington. Now, the good news is temperatures are slowly increasing. If you were watching in the last half hour, the Seattle temperature climbed while we were in the middle of the forecast. So we started earlier at 23. We're now up to 26. But when temperatures are this cold, that causes those significant icing issues on the roadways. Not only are we focused on those cold temperatures, but we have those winds at 8 miles per hour. And I know that doesn't seem impressive, but when you add in those winds, say between 8 miles per hour up to, in some cases, 14 miles per hour, what we're seeing in Everett, when you have that weight of the ice on the power lines and the trees, that's that extra weight. That wind adds a little extra stress, and then you go bam, you see the transformers blowing, you see the lines coming down, and even tree damage. So that's what we're focused on with this weight of the ice. We hold on to that moisture continuing toward 8 a.m. See that little secondary area of freezing rain moving in, but it does transition into rain by around lunchtime area-wide. Here we go. Lunchtime temperature up to 32 in Bellingham. We should be up to 34 by 2 p.m. Similar in Everett, temperatures climb up to freezing at lunchtime, and then it transitions into all rain. And in Seattle, I'm expecting sometime between, say, 11 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. to see that transition into all liquid rain here. A little bit earlier in Tacoma as those temperatures start to warm up a little faster down there, and in Olympia by around 10 a.m. we should be above freezing. Luckily, temperatures are going to stay above freezing over the weekend, but now we add on to the rain with this ice, so there could be some isolated flooding concerns near some of the rivers and streams. We'll have more details on the forecast coming up here in a few minutes.